So here we again go for the next episode of Gigi's Talk. And this episode, we have an eminent guest who was an ex-cop with CBI, and now she works and helps women entrepreneurs get transition from being an employee to be an employer. And she does it in a most beautiful manner. And her name is NIRUPAMA VYAS. So she's not just that, she's a TEDx speaker, she's a keynote speaker, she has managed many multiple roles. And now let's hear from her what she has for us. So welcome on board, NIRUPAMA, and let's have this talk show going.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Geetha. And I just cannot thank you for the amazing words that you brought in here. Well, it makes my heart full of grace and full of honor that I am a part of your lovely show. Let's create magic together.
Okay. So, NIRUPAMA, you were a CBI cop.
Yeah.
What made you do that transition from being a central government employee to be an employer?
Oh, that's a great question. And, I'm often asked that part. Geetha, I would want to put it in a way that whenever we are choosing a profession of our own, when we are, let's say, teenagers, or let's say we are in our Odyssey years, early 20s, that is the time there are multiple forces that are making us influence, that are making us understand that what is, how we should be taking a decision. So belonging to a family of government servants, at that moment I felt, oh, this is the best profession, because one, I did not have much idea of my own. Two, it was like sometimes, you want to give back to your parents, because you feel that, oh, they've put in so much in your education. They've given you such an amazing upbringing. Now it's your duty. Now it's you're dedicated, that's the word that I'm getting, that, hey, I will give everything what I have. So with that mindset, I started preparing for the civil services examination. And to answer your question very specifically, you asked me, like, what is the transition? How did I do that transition? So after working in this, Government of India for a couple of years, life had a different plan for me when I started embarking on my self-development journey. And that's where I want to really talk to your audience and say that no, whatever role you are, it's important for you to work on your personal development. It's important for you to work on your self-development, because that really helps in opening doors within you as a person. And while I was doing my self-development journey, I understood that NIRUPAMA, the girl who is actually in a certain profession, carries certain values, carries certain principles, carries certain strengths. And these were the things that our formal education system never teaches us,
Right.
We need to understand that, and we need to understand who we are as a person. And the deeper I started understanding myself, I realized that my skill set, my strengths, my values, they belong to a totally different field. And I just landed in a particular profession, one, as a product of my conditioning, because, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that, whatever we get from our external experiences, they make us take certain decisions. And, Geetha, you'll be surprised how our internal mind works. It could be, to seek approval from somebody, we take a particular decision. Or it could be in the form of pleasing somebody. And these are such subtle things that we do not even realize, but they are shaping the way we are taking decisions. So NIRUPAMA, in her early 20s, had taken decision on the basis of all of these things. But the moment she realized and she had that entire learning about her own self, she realized that, oh, she belonged to a different path. And that's where I started embarking on this journey of entrepreneurship, in the search of finding where I belonged. That's how the quest started,
Okay. So first you started your career seeking validation from the outside.
Yep.
Then you realized your real validation comes from your inside. And then you
Absolutely.
shifted your transition from an employee to your employer, to be an employer,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
Okay. In that, I would ask you, how soon can someone realistically start their entrepreneurial journey? And what
Yeah.
key factors should they consider when deciding the timing for it?
Beautiful question. And, let's understand this question. You had used the word someone. How soon can someone really start an entrepreneurship? And to the audience, I would say when we are referring to someone, we are actually referring to no one, because each one of us is very different. It's like somebody who is in a full-time job is probably getting 2 hours, maybe in the morning, or maybe towards the fag end of the day, or maybe over the weekends, you are taking out some time and you're building on your side gig. So, it would depend on a person. And also I would want to give example of a woman and let's say a mother, because I really see that this show should also go to a lot of mompreneurs, all the aspiring mompreneurs. If you are taking care of your children, if you are a working person and simultaneously taking care of your children, that would mean the time that you are investing in creating your business would be far less. And, since you asked me some of the factors to consider, I would want to give it in some pointers. And
Okay.
if audience you're listening, I would want you to bring a notepad, because it took me a good number of years to find out these pointers. So please make a note of that. The first one is your readiness and preparation. Entrepreneurship, like any other profession, would require you to develop some skills, would require you to develop some knowledge, would require you to develop some mindset, some experience. So number one, how much are you prepared? You need to look at your readiness, you need to look at your preparedness to get into entrepreneurship. That's factor number one. Factor number two, your financial stability and safety net. Do you have enough corpus? Because though we are in that age of zero investment business, but if you need to promote your business, if you need to do right marketing, it would require money. So do you have enough corpus with you, so that you can really expand your business or make your business reach out to more people? At the same time, if you're going full-time into business, do you have a safety net that can thrive you? That's the second pointer that I would want to bring. The next thing is market timing and demand. When we were looking at the pandemic, that was the time wherein online businesses were at a boom. Everybody is watching webinars, everybody is in that zone. So that was a period wherein, everybody got a rise, in terms of followers, in terms of the content being consumed. So one is about the timing, another is also about the demand. The fourth thing, very important consideration, is your personal circumstances. Like I gave you different examples. At what stage of life you are? Are you a student? Are you a working person? Are you a mother? Who are you? And it's absolutely okay to go at your pace.
Okay.
You don't need to compare yourself to anybody else. And finally, Geetha, the most important thing, the reason why we met, it was the presence of a beautiful network and support system. Right. So if you have an amazing network and a support system to help you in growing your entrepreneurial journey, that's the best asset that you can have. Yes. So these are some of the pointers that anybody should keep in mind, while they're building their business. Yeah.
So Nirupama, according to you, the timing is as per your convenience. And absolutely. The parameters are how ready you are, how prepared you are, and how financially stable you think you are, financially as well. Coming to that, what are the primary financial considerations that an aspiring entrepreneur need to address when initiating their business ventures? And what strategies can they employ to secure initial funding? I would like you to go in a small words so that it's not scattered, so they get this gist of it. I know you are a very experienced person. I want the answer like in the summary kind. So because as our audience are youngsters, they don't have all that patience. So I want them to get at least a summary of what we are intending to give them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And let's think of any business. I have this particular earphone in my hand, and you want to be selling this particular earphone. Or let's say there's another product, there's a mouse right in front of you. So now here, if we want to sell any product, any service, you need to understand that what are the startup costs and the capital requirements.
Okay.
So when I talk about the startup costs and the capital requirements, be in terms of the machinery, it could be in terms of the equipment, the inventory, the office space, any license fee, any legal fee, marketing costs, initial operating costs, whatever you have. You need to hold into account all of that. And the clearer you are, Geetha, around that, the easier for you to understand that how much money would you require. Because a lot of times it is seen that people jump into business and they don't even know how much money would I require to start that business. So the first thing, as far as the financial consideration is concerned, understand that how much money would you require and how can you get this money is what we are going to move to the second segment of things, because you spoke about the initial funding. Next thing, very importantly, irrespective of the fact that whether you are from a finance background or you're not from a finance background, numbers are something everybody needs to know in business.
Right.
And that is the reason I would really ask all the people, whether you are starting as a teenager, to have a cash flow management in place. So when I say a cash flow management, it is about what is the incoming revenue, how is the process of getting that revenue, and also planning the expenses. If I have to say in simple words, it's like कितना खर्चा हो रहा है और कितना revenue आ रहा है. You need to be very clear about that, because अगर आपको कोई clarity ही नहीं है, then it is not a business, it's a hobby that you are pursuing. And now let's come to the most important thing, for securing funding, and I want to give you a few pointers here, people. The first one is self-funding or bootstrapping. So if you have some savings, like, I had a client who said, and she was a young girl who was fresh out of college. She said, my grandparents, have left a lot of money for me. And they said that, hey, you can use it for something. So instead of, just going out buying something, she was very clear that she wants to put it into business, and if you've been saving something right from your childhood, you should know that how much money you have, or can you really get it from your friends and family. And that's my second point. Even to get money from your friends and family, you need to sell an idea to them.
Yes.
So it's like, can you really talk about your idea? Is it something that they get convinced with? Is it something that they find some value in? So if you can sell it to your friends and family and get money out of that, that's a very creative way of financing your business.
Right.
The third thing that I would say is there are a lot of angel investors and venture capitalists. But for that route, you need to understand if they are investing in your business, in your startup, it would also require for you to make them understand that, how you can really make the startup grow, and how would they in turn benefit out of that,
Okay.
So they might even want a part of equity, some ownership in your company.
So what you mean to say is, you should be part of a big network wherein entrepreneurs really meet and connect with each other, like
Yes.
BMIs and things, wherein
Yes.
really investors and the people who are sellers come there and meet at a regular interval. Be a
Yes.
part of such network groups where you can connect with people, know the needs of the market, and then
Yes.
build products and then start pitching. And saying about pitching, all it comes to is how well can you sell your idea and yourself to others. So it means practice, it means work on yourself. Coming to that, as you said, some kids have the habit of saving whatever they get from early childhood with a strong idea of where they would be utilizing it.
Right.
On the other hand, we also have people, even adults, who want their parents investing in their idea and businesses, and I would call them as a kind of entitlement. Now, how can aspiring entrepreneurs differentiate between a healthy ambition and entitlement, and what strategies they can use to cultivate a strong work ethics and resilience in them?
Amazing. There are two very beautiful questions, Geetha, that you've actually presented here. Let's understand what is healthy ambition, and let's also understand what is entitlement first before we actually get into answering this.
Right.
So when we talk about something which is a healthy ambition, it is coming from a place of contributing. It is coming from a place of desiring to achieve something. It is coming from a place of creating something which is of value and purpose to the people on the other side. That's a way of healthy ambition, right? And when we look at entitlement is like, hey, Geetha, I deserve this show because I am an employment to entrepreneur counselor. I have been a TEDx speaker. I have been this, I have been that. And while I'm saying that, I am talking to all the students, I'm talking to all the people who are not doing the groundwork, who are not really understanding that in order to survive in business, you need to earn that right every day. It's not just one day. And when you actually, earn that thing each and every day, that's where your credibility gets built. Now, a lot of youngsters, have this thing that, hey, and because we are in that, generation wherein most of the children are either single children or maybe two of them, they've been given the best of the resources by their parents. They've been given the best of, the luxuries, I would say, the facilities in terms of education, extracurricular activities. But kids, I want you to understand that that is a privilege that you have got. That is not an entitlement. And the sooner you start bringing an attitude of gratitude, for whatever you've gotten, the sooner you understand that this doesn't belong to you. This belongs to your parents who are generous enough in providing that to you. Their job is done till there. Now it is for you to understand that whatever right that I'm giving, because every fundamental right, as the Constitution says, has a corresponding fundamental duty to it. Now, what is your duty as a child? To honor whatever has been given to you. And even if you want to take some help in terms of business, in terms of starting out something, take it as a loan. Like the way, you would be taking it from a startup founder, the way you would be taking it from, let's say, a venture capitalist, an angel investor, or maybe some crowdfunding if you are going in for that. Take it as a loan. Because, guys, I want to tell you one thing. The moment you consider that this money is not mine, your skin is in the game. Otherwise, you feel that, hey, there's nothing for me to lose. Even if I blow up that money, there will be no consequences. But as an entrepreneur, you got to be in that game of having your skin in the game each and every day. Because it's not only you. Tomorrow you will have a team of yours. You got to be responsible for that team, for the livelihood, for them. Nowadays everybody is like, oh, I'm out of college. I don't want to work under somebody. I want to be my own boss. I've heard a lot of youngsters say that. But I want to tell you, it comes with a lot of responsibility. It comes with a lot of responsibility because as entrepreneurs, we are nobody, but we are the people who are solving problems. Entrepreneurs mean problem solvers. So one, you need to understand what is the problem that you're solving. And two, you need to understand the responsibility as an entrepreneur.
Okay, so coming to that, in terms of personal financial management, what advice would you give to budding entrepreneurs to ensure their personal finances are not adversely affected during the startup phase? Because I have seen many cases wherein they just pool in all the money that they have, all the resources, get started, and then when it booms, it is like upside going, and if it is going down, then everything is for the doom, either up or either down. They're not prepared for either of them. So how would you advise them?
Sure. That's a brilliant question, because the way you handle money handles your business in the same way. So here I would really want to talk about a financial management system that I am personally using. And at the same time, before I get into that financial management system, because that would require a little bit of understanding, I would want to say whatever money that you're getting or you're making out of your business, please ensure that your personal expenses are different from your business expenses. Never ever mix that. If you can take a salary out of your business, like I am doing this work, this is the business revenue that is coming, and if I need to be using, I'm getting this much percentage of money as a part of my salary, and rest of the money goes as a corpus in my business. That would be a very good way of reinvesting in your business. Second thing, Geetha, I would want to say, always have something known as a budget and expense management system. So you got to have a budget about how much are you spending, and when you are actually starting out, you need to focus on the necessary things, all those things that are falling in the place of an essential item. There is no room for luxury. The moment your business grows, oh yes, you can really live a life that is king size, queen size, whatever you want to live. But at an initial stage, please be I would not say do not overspend, but I would say be careful about where you put your money, and a very important aspect that I would want to give before I get into the financial management system, always have a contingency fund. I don't call it an emergency fund, because it's like the choice of words. The moment we use emergency fund, you're attracting those kind of emergencies. So I would want to use a contingency fund, so that if there is something that is unexpected, some emergencies come your way, some unforeseen circumstances come your way, you have a fund which can sustain that. So even you need to be investing in that. Now I would come to my favorite financial management system, and this is something I learned from one of my mentors, T. Harvecker, and he talks about the 6 jar system. So he says whatever income you're getting, whatever business revenue you're getting, divide that into 6 jars. The first jar is your necessity jar. So that necessity jar should the percentage that you need to allocate there is 55%. So when I say 55%, that would include your rent, mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, transportation, whatever are the daily, day-to-day things that you require, they are coming as a part of your necessities. The second one is your financial freedom jar. So this is a long-term wealth building exercise. So you got to put 10% of whatever you earn into this financial freedom jar, because if you are financially free, then you don't need to work for money. Money works for you, right, rather than you working for money. And that's a brilliant place to be. Right. The third jar that I would want to talk to you about, people, is the play jar. And play jar is a jar wherein you use that money for your enjoyment, for your self-indulgence, for a place wherein you could pursue for your entertainment, for your hobby, something that nurtures your soul, because there has to be a balance between work and really having that leisure time to yourself, so that you don't have any burnout. So the percentage that you put in your play jar is another 10%. 10% for your play jar. I would just quickly repeat: 55% for necessities, 10% for financial freedom, 10% for play. Now let's come to the education jar. In the beginning, when I started this conversation, I was stressing the importance of personal development, self-development, and your professional development. So you've got to be a continuous learner, a lifelong learner, investing in courses, investing in learnings, investing in something that enhances your skills, your mindset. So that 10% also goes in your education jar, and which you are going to be actually investing time again and again, so that you can actually upskill yourself. The next 10% is in your giving jar. Giving jar is where you are actually giving it out, because what comes around, what goes around comes around, right? So it's very important to give it out there, so that you are completing the law of the universe, and it is going out, so it has to come back to you, because money is energy. If you do not give it out, it will find a way of leaking out of your system. So you consciously starts giving it out. And the last thing that I would want to talk about, long-term savings. Let's say you want to buy a car, you want to invest in creating a fancy office of yours, you want to buy a house of your own going forward. So start investing 10% of whatever you're earning in your long-term savings. And whenever you are spending, if it is for your long-term savings, it needs to come from this particular jar. If it is for your necessities, it needs to come out of your necessity jars. If it is, let's say to watch a movie, to really buy some fancy shoes for myself, it will come out of my play jar. So you need to bucket it out nicely and not mix anything. So this will bring a lot of clarity, where are you spending what money? Yeah.
So Nirupama, because we come from the same background, because we got educated in the financial thing from T. Havekar's thing, so we are so well aware and we practice it every day.
Absolutely.
I insist that anyone watching this show, if they start it out this way, they will surely find a way out for anything and everything in their life.
Absolutely.
Coming to that, I want you to share some real life example or success stories of entrepreneurs who started with limited resources, overcame their entitlement issues to build successful businesses out of them.
Beautiful. And the real life stories are so many that I can talk about. But I would want to, bring in some of the brands out there. They had a purpose. Like when we spoke about Menstrupedia wanted to speak about, those menstrual issues that women have. And they wanted to speak around that. And if I have to talk about, Mama Earth, Ghazal Alag had this thing that she wants to bring those kind of products for children, for women, which are good for the skin, good for the health, so that was the purpose. Then you all might have known this particular brand, Your Story, and Shraddha Sharma, when she started with a very basic website. She did not even have much money at that time, but she started with little investment in her website. She started floating stories of entrepreneurs, and now we know where Your Story is. So all these things, all these women have actually proved that, you don't need to put in a lot of money, but what you need to put in is yourself 100%, a lot of intent, and you have to bring a lot of purpose in what you are doing. It all starts with the mindset. It all starts with being emotionally healthy and being okay to honor your emotions.
Thank you so much for that closing line. And anyone who wants to connect with Nirupama or me and connect and know us or our work, or have doubts in the field that we discussed today, do reach out on the links below. All the links to her website, my website, and our works are given below. Just visit, see what works for you, and all the very best. Hope we could provide some insight and some light to all the doubts and questions that were there in your mind. And we will come again with something new next time. Till then, bye. Thank you for being here, Nirupama. It had been a wonderful journey with you.
The pleasure is all mine, and I thank you and the audience for giving me so much of love, so much of your time. Thank you very much.